All good. Um, it was amazing. The atmosphere was great. It was a real down to the wire game, nitty gritty. You got to stay on your p's and q's at all times. I felt like I played well. Obviously, there's a lot of things that I can improve on going into this week, and I will, and we'll get better than with that as a team. Additionally, but I really enjoyed the atmosphere. Really enjoyed finally getting to where I dreamed of being my whole life, and I feel like I stepped up to the challenge. That we played well in a lot of spots, but there was also a lot of spots where we need to improve. Missed tackling was a big one for us as a unit, so we went back to the basics all week, just getting back there, trying to improve our tackling going into this week, and then just consistency, just being consistent, putting people away when we have them in opportunities, finishing on plays, interceptions, fumble recoveries, whatever the case may be, and then just aggressive mistakes. They're going to happen penalty wise, but just trying to limit those and just stay on top of what we're doing and stay disciplined. Amazing play. As soon as I saw him pick it off, went out, got out there and blocked for him. Anything we could do as a team just to put points on the board. So when I saw him pick it off, I mean, we worked that route all week. I was like, there he is, Justin Wally being Justin Wally. Great play, hell of a player, and that's exactly what I felt about that one. We just got to finish. Like I said before, I feel like we were in a position to make a lot of plays. We had them where we wanted them to be. We just have to finish. Whether that's a missed tackle, whether that's capitalizing on turnovers, whatever the case may be, we just have to finish.
What's one of the focus areas heading into this week that this team as a whole is focusing on improving from last week?
You said improving from last week. Obviously, missed tackles. That was a big one for us. We just want to be more sound tacklers. The better you tackle, the better of defense you're going to be. I mean, that's just the name of the game on defense. So definitely improving on our missed tackles and using our tackling system to our advantage.
Where do you start with tough-minded running back like that versus the passing game? You always start with stopping the run. Is that the most important thing? What's the mindset of the based on your phone?
I mean, I know Coach Heatherman preaches a lot, just stopping the run, stopping the run, stopping the run. I feel like that's important as a DB. I mean, obviously, as a DB, you want the ball in the air as much as possible, but just as a team reason, the more you stop the run, you want to make teams one-dimensional. We feel like we have a good defensive back play. We want to get them in positions where our pass rushers up front, Jaw Joyner, Anthony Smith, Striggow, guys like that. Even Jalen Logan Redden on the interior, just get them in positions where they can go rush the passer, get us in positions where we can cover in space. So stopping the run is just crucial this any week, and definitely this past weekend.
Did you prep for this season any different coming into the Big Ten and perhaps your career after the Big Ten?
I wouldn't say I prepped any different. I would say it was a lot more stuff on campus and with the team. Being in the FCS, we don't report as early as we do here, so all before was more on my own with trainers back home and things like that. But just being more around the team, summer workouts, things like that, individual work with a bunch of guys on the team, just getting together on our own, just trying to get better every day. I feel like that was the biggest difference.
From FCS, what do you think this team needs for Rhode Island is in that position?
I look at them how I was here when I had to play JMU Week 1 last year. It's an opportunity. It's going to be not really pressure for them, but they're definitely going to want to make a statement. You win a game like that, you play well like that, it can set you up for a bunch of different opportunities. So I just feel like on our end, we have to be ready for everything that they come with. Played a couple of those guys over there in high school, so I know they're really good players. So we got to bring it, and I think the team knows that, and we'll be ready.
Guys, FCS that are playing for not just to win, but you recognize now if you play well, you may get a shot at a qualified school.
Yes, sir. Yeah, exactly. That's really the mindset individually, I know, for a lot of guys at that level. And then as a team, it's just like you want to beat the best. You beat a Big Ten team, like that puts you that puts the rest of the FCS on notice, like, hold on, like we need to prepare for these guys right here. So I know they're going to come out with their best game. They're going to come out with their A game on Saturday afternoon, so we have to be ready for it.
Brosmer talked about it post game, just the environment being in the Big Ten environment in the game, like for the first time. What was it like for you?
It was surreal coming out in the beginning, just pre-warm-ups and warm-ups, just looking around, seeing the crowd, things like that. But like I said on one of these before, at the end of the day, it just comes down to playing football. Football's football for me personally. So I know once the first snap went, once I got my first little bit of contact or whatever, I just settled in. And once I settled in, I felt like I was right where I belong.
Anything else for Ethan? All right, thanks, Ethan.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a nice day.
Takeaways from the defense on Sunday, Monday after watching the film.
I thought as coming out of the game, as a defense, outside of the coaches, I thought, you go into the first game never really knowing what you're going to get. And as a defense and from the other team, game ones are always interesting because there's new personnel, new play schemes, everything and anything. And so coming out of that game, I felt that, we kind of confirmed what we believed as a defense, that we were going to be fast, we were going to play, incredibly fast, no matter what position. And that was what, Coach Heatherman kind of saw with the film too, was that, we clean up a few things here and there, and maybe another play goes our way, and we're in a different ball game. But we kind of confirmed what we had thought throughout fall camp, throughout spring ball, improved upon things from spring ball to fall camp, and we're going to be a fast defense. That's how we want to play, and the first game kind of confirmed that. A lot of emphasis on tackling this week. Obviously, we missed way too many tackles last week, and in some instances it was one guy misses and there's another guy there, for a 1 yard gain, and other instances it's their running back breaks 2 tackles and picks up another 7-8 yards, and we can't have that. And so there's been a heavy emphasis on tackling this week. We start every practice with tackling convention, so it's just being more detailed when you're going about that in practice, because obviously something wasn't right in the first game when we had been focusing on it throughout the fall camp and the rest of the spring. And so putting a more detailed emphasis on the way we're going about our tackling circuits and the way we use our tackling circuits, actually using the system that we have in place.
What's it like when you change quarterbacks like that? Is it a two huddle on the sideline? Do you have a book on the second team quarterback? What happens in a game situation like that when you get to the
Yeah, so we obviously going into a game, especially in the first game of the year, you prepare for all scenarios, and that's any game in the season, but especially in the first game of the year where you don't really know who was going to start. You can pick things up from the media and stuff like that, but you never really know who's going to play. So we had prepared for both quarterbacks to come out and play, and so it wasn't necessarily a mindset shift. It was more of a, this is probably what we're going to see out of this quarterback rather than this quarterback. So it was kind of just a little bit of a shift in, this is probably how they're going to go about, this drive and the drives from here on out, as opposed to what, that quarterback playing to his strengths. They're probably going to play to this quarterback's strengths. I mean, obviously, coming into having a new quarterback switch late in the game is tough on them as well. Obviously, it's tough on them. It's tough on us, because you're not necessarily sure what you're going to see or how they're going to deal with having to switch quarterbacks late in the game. But we had practiced multiple looks from their offense, so it didn't really throw us off much as a defense or to catch us by surprise.
The Rhode Island quarterback's very mobile, dual threat guy.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys prepping for that? You had a big game last week.
Yeah. So they have a lot of speed on their offense, especially coming from their quarterback, their running back room, their receivers as well. And it's really just being disciplined. One is a defensive line. Obviously if we can keep the linebackers and secondary clean, coming off of blocks, then it makes their job a lot easier to run over the top. But just being able to be disciplined in our rules, and then having the linebackers and secondary fit off of that. But obviously he's shown the ability to make plays on the perimeter, through the air, on the ground, as well as making plays with the running backs and receivers as well. So we've been looking into that this week.
The defense really struggled lead off the field on third down last year, and then on Thursday night you guys were 8 of 16 allowing it. What has to change if you're going to start getting off the field on third down?
Yeah, the thing with third down is getting yourself in favorable third downs. And so it really comes down to being better on first and second down. If you really want to be favorable on third down, you got to get teams in third and long. And I don't think that last year especially, and then at points in last week's game, to where we were getting in third and shorter situations where it's not a clear pass or it's not a clear run, or you're not necessarily sure about the tendencies within the offense because they really have an open playbook when it's 3rd and 4 or less. So getting being better on first and second down, getting teams in third and long will allow you to be able to be better on third down because it kind of limits what the other team can do. It's not just an open playbook for them. So, being able to be more disciplined, getting guys on the ground, incomplete passes on first and second down really limited their options.
How much, if at all, was penalties brought up in team meetings this week? The 2 on the punts and then the 3 on defense that kind of shifted drives. Just how much did the coaches bring that up with you?
Yeah, obviously we focus a lot on penalties. We pride ourselves on not being penalized a lot, and we were penalized a lot last week. And is out of character for a team that is usually, pretty low penalized team. But we did discuss how it affects the game. And at the end of the day, you have a penalty, you can't do anything about it afterwards, so you just got to respond from that. And there's the penalties. Some plays hurt us more than others, but you still got to go out and play the next play. So it obviously we put an emphasis on it. Some things are easier to clean up than others. Some are hustle plays, some are not. Some just need to be corrected. But there was an emphasis put on lowering the penalty count. Yeah, and I've gotten that question from some people outside of our organization, and it's pretty simple. Dragon didn't lose us that game. That there is plays in all 3 phases of the game to where we make 1 or 2 plays on offense, 1 or 2 plays on defense, 1 or 2 plays on a different special team to where the game isn't coming down to a last-second field goal. And I wouldn't want any other operation back there than Dragon Croft. And so guys. Dragons wiped it clean, next play, good play, bad play, next play. And, the teams rallied behind him. We all have the most amount of trust in Dragon that he's going to make field goals for us. He's going to win us games. So there's never really a doubt in anyone's mind on the team. We know that, you can win a game with 1 play. You can't lose a game with 1 play. So.
What's your story on the mustache?
I had one for like a week last year going into Nebraska. And I shaved it right after that, and I was like, man, I kind of wish I kept it. So this year, going into fall camp, I grew the mustache, and I kind of like it. So I'm gonna ride it out for a little bit. We'll see how long it lasts. If it gets too greasy, I might have to go.
Anything else for you? All right. Thanks, Dave.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for watching the film.
Obviously, seeing that, you see that what we can be, and seeing that the plays that could have been made and all there that we're this close to stuff. So it's still a positive message, understanding that this is just the first game of the season and that this is a long ride we got and that our offense can be truly explosive.
How you feeling health-wise after missing some fall camp?
I feel great. It was obviously fun to be out there. It was great to be out there, and getting out there kind of gave my body more of like a spark back, and I felt good. I feel good continuously practicing with the team and getting back and kind of going up into training camp and getting back initiated with the team coming into week 1. That kind of, like I was telling Max, it just took a big jump to where I'm able to feel really good and be out there every day for my brothers. So. Yeah, some of the pressures that we that kind of gave us some challenges early on. I felt like we definitely did sit back, and we obviously seen that drive in the last our last drive, how we were truly moving the field efficiently. And obviously there's always things to work on. No one's gonna be everything fine tuned out in the week 1, but you see the plays that are there and that plays that that where we all can be better. And just I think I'm positive going forward. So. Yeah, we obviously our home field, we're going to use that as an advantage in our stadium. But personally, I look at any game and take it as a home advantage. Wherever you are, you want to go out there and play your best. So those 4 games, yes, those are crucial 4 games, and you want to win every game. So it's not like you give it more of an attention because it's a home game. But every game you want to go out there, be 1-0. But obviously we want to take care of business in the rest of them. Oh, yeah, I thought it was excellent. That was something new for me, too, just being in the huddle. And, I feel like I haven't huddled really since I don't even know when I have. I did it in high school, and we haven't been able to, or we haven't at all in college. So with the new headset and him getting Harbo's impact off play to play and him giving us little feedbacks of what he sees there and how we can help each other out on the field, receiver to receiver, receiver to quarterback. And, I mean, he did a great job, and I think he leads it like how an NFL quarterback would.
We got our first Christian driver on Thursday. What
Yeah.
have you seen from him over the last few months?
Yeah, Christian Driver, he's a quick, snappy, explosive player. Love having him in the room. He's real. He loves working hard. He's real. He takes leadership. He takes coaching very well. You know, he always wants to learn. He looks at something maybe that I'm doing or Elijah Spencer's doing, and he adds it to his game, and vice versa. We add things to his game. So I think he's doing a great job and is a great addition to our receiver room.
Daniel, Rhode Island gave up some yards through the air last year. Have you been studying them and
Yeah.
places where you can exploit?
There's six places where we feel like we can exploit and go out there and play ball and run our offense.
We had just one play from the first week that stood out on the sideline, right sideline, going in the second half.
Uh-huh.
Max Brosmer stared you down
Yeah.
like a curl route.
Mm-hmm.
Completely covered, still gets it to
Right.
you, and you make a play after.
Yeah, those routine plays we've been working on all training camp, just trusting, knowing the ball's gonna be there when it needs to be there, and having it in a place to where they're easily advanceable afterwards. You see, I didn't really have to do much. He put it on my chest, and I was able to turn up field and worry about the defenders at that point. So I didn't really have to worry about catching the ball when it's on your chest. So. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, as you see, North Carolina last year, they kind of they had me in the backfield, ran a little play. So obviously, just building off and expanding our offense and finding ways to get playmakers the ball. And I wouldn't say Darius being out had any really effect on that, because we're going to continue to run our offense regardless of who's there and who's not there. But it's sadly, but yeah, I mean, having the addition to be able to put receivers in the backfield, not only just me, but just expand our offense in that way, is something that's going to be really nice for us.
There were a couple plays where you drew defense pass interference. What are the kind of keys when you feel like there might be that option?
Right. No, those are always. I mean, as a receiver, you want to you even want to make those plays, and you want those plays back, because in the NFL it's a little bit different. But you want to take a 30-yarder instead of a 15-yarder. But being able to get drives like going in that aspect of getting the ball moving, it was crucial, I say, and just knowing when you're kind of defended. I know that first one was more of it was like a jump ball, and Coach Simon always says like jump up and work into the defender to draw the pass interference, and that's kind of what my mindset was a little bit on that first one. Just jump up, and because knowing that the DB's kind of like working towards you, the ball, what I'm saying, it's a 50-50 ball, so just go up, make your best attempt to catch it, and then if he's what I'm saying, draw the ref, make it look a little something. So.
Anything else for Daniel? Heard you're a big one-piece guy.
Yeah.
All 1,000.
Yeah, we're like 1250 or something like that. So yeah, I'm up to date weighing on this next Sunday.
Watched a single television show for over 1,200 episodes.
You said, why have I?
Yeah.
Because of the main character, Monkey D, Luffy. He just you aspire to be like a fun, energetic person like him. So I think it's just a great show.
So every Sunday night when a new episode comes out, you watch.
Oh yeah, every Sunday. It's really Saturday night if you really know it's Saturday night if you up late enough. But Sunday morning if I don't get to it on Sunday, it's definitely on Monday. So yeah, it's a routine I have.
Would that be like a touchdown celebration?
I gotta figure out which one. He got a few moves. So, but yeah, down the line I could think of something like that. That'd be dope. So
All good with Daniel?
awesome, appreciate it. Yep, thank you.
I thought there was a lot of good things for us to take away from that game. I think if you go into a game and you take the result and all you focus on is the negatives, I don't think that you can completely grow. I think as long as you take the negatives and translate them to what we can get better and fix and grow upon, I think that's where great teams become successful. Starting from game one.
When you and Harbaugh went back to where the biggest areas you want to improve this weekend?
I think for me, starting fast. As a unit starting fast. I think the the offense, it took a little bit for us to get in the group. I think that's really important as an offense and as a team to start fast. And if you take a few drives to get going, sometimes it's hard to get the ball run early. And then also just I think taking what the defense gives you. I think and the quarterback position specifically, like knowing your opponent, going into game one and going into every single game is like take what they give you. Don't try to do too much. Play your game and trust your players.
With that in mind, Matt, something that you've heard, I'm sure you've been playing for this a long time, it's that whole don't make a mistake, take what they give you, and yet make a play free and easy.
Mhm.
I mean, they want everything when you bring the access.
That's football, yeah.
And it is quarterback.
Mhm.
How do you come to terms with that?
Yeah, that's how football's been my whole life, and for everybody else who plays the game. There's a fine line and a balance between playing free and playing loose, but also making sure that you're not trying to do too much and you're playing within the system and playing the game. A lot of the playing free and playing loose, I think, comes from the preparation beforehand. Knowing what you're going to get on defense, knowing what situation brings this coverage and this specific pressure, and that preparation allows a player to go out and not have to worry about the external, and not have to worry about the extra stuff that's going to the field because they're already one step ahead. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle in the world of college football, is they're trying to focus on very minute things sometimes when you have to just trust your body and just go play football.
The hard part sometimes, especially when you want to make an immediate impact, that it's okay to throw it away, or you used to watch Tom Brady, and
Mhm.
so many times he win games because of the things he didn't do.
Yeah.
He did on third down.
Right.
Is that a hard thing to fight against when you're trying to be a playmaker because you want to be an immediate impact guy in a situation?
No, I think if you're talking specifically on the quarterback position, I think as the quarterback, I think in order for teams to win games, you have to play within the system. And if you try to do too much and try to play out of your body, that's when really negative plays happen. And there's all ranges of styles of quarterback play. You have the Patrick Mahomes and you have the Tom Brady's, and like they're completely different players, and they can do different things in the field, but ultimately they're successful because they're competitors. I think the line comes down to as a player, are you willing to compete and put the best product in the field, or are you trying to do too much and put your team in a bad situation?
Was getting chased down by a 300 man, a welcome to the Power 4 moment.
Yeah, that was my welcome to the Power 4 moment for sure. Didn't happen too much from where I originally had played in, and that was a good phone call on the sideline with Coach Harbaugh. I was like, well, you won't do that again, but you can take that and grow in game, and ultimately that's going to be a throwaway next time for sure.
Played Rhode Island a couple of times. I chucked it over 60 times last year. When you look at Rhode Island last year versus what you've seen so far, what are the biggest differences?
Well, number one, I'll start with similarities. Is they've always been a hard-nosed, gritty football team, and I think that's the definition of the CEA. I think everybody in that league is super gritty. Football is what we have there at football, and that's all we have. And Rhode Island has been a team that's been defined as hard-nosed and gritty for however long I've played them for. They lost a few guys, but for the most part, they're playing the same stuff as they did last year. It's funny going back to watch film from when I was playing them last year, and that's what we're using to game plan now, and watch last year's film. And most of the games that I feel like I've watched 3 or 4 times already because that's what I did to prepare last year. And so it's cool going back to drawing board and finding the little tweaks that we can change and utilize for this offense. And I'm really excited to see it out.
Max, in that game, you actually had some pretty good yards on the ground. I think it was a 20-yard touchdown also.
Yes.
So are you is that something you'd like to exploit this week too, if possible?
I think it goes back to the point of just playing with what the defense gives you. I think in that specific moment, in that game, that's what it called for, and that's what the defense gave you. And ultimately, the offense did a good job of executing the play throughout the whole thing. And me and Dylan Lobb are on the same page, and that's what ended up happening. But I don't think it's more of like, oh, I'm definitely going to go to try to run this one in.
Good passing game.
It was more of just what the defense gave us.
Utilizing that good relationship you built with Coach Harbaugh, like having thrown for 450 yards against them, so kind of what you were able to exploit last year. How do you use that relationship to kind of give him more of your idea this week of like, you really know this opponent and
Yeah.
you can impart some of your wisdom?
It's definitely interesting. I think we've brought out new things that maybe I didn't think about as much last year. I think it's really cool how he how he game plans and our conversations throughout the week. But it's like, I was like, I didn't think about that last year, and he's bringing up new things, so that's really cool, which brings new ideas to the table, maybe that we hadn't thought about last year. I think ultimately as an offense, we've fully put our trust into Coach Harbaugh and his offensive staff, and whatever he's calling this game, and is ultimately what we're going to do, and we're gonna put our full faith and trust into him. And I'm excited. I think he's got some good stuff going, and I'm excited to see our players play.
How's the offensive line responded this week?
Great. They're one of my favorite groups in the team. Ultimately it starts up front. Every single game always starts with them, and every single week starts with them up front. And they've been grinding this week, and I'm really proud of the response they've had. And it's been a fun week for sure. And I just like playing behind these guys. They're really good people. Yeah, you're talking about Thursday. I think we talk about pressure in this this building, this culture, and its pressure is kind of created. I think there's a way you can handle it and deal with it. And I think for our offense, ultimately there's an external pressure for sure, but how you handle it inside is what actually creates the pressure that you feel. And I think Coach Fleck and his staff does a really good job of preparing us for that, putting us in situations where there's a lot of external pressure during practice, for example, and learning how to deal with those situations on the practice field. He gives us the best opportunity, the best chance to be able to compete in adverse or extremely high external pressure environments.
Had that NIL dinner, I believe, with like the linemen. How was that? And is that something that?
That was awesome. Yeah, I like to do that with my guys, and Freehouse was able to help us out with that in North Loop, and they've been great so far. The guys love it. I just like being around them, and I think it's really good to kind of get out of the building together and go do something separate, go eat dinner together, and not have to be around the facility as much. And I think that helps with building chemistry off the field, which ultimately the goal is to build it on the field as well throughout the year. And I think it's been really good for us so far. Yeah. Yeah, I would say, I think it'd be huge for the team. I think, ultimately our goal is to go 1-0 every single day, and ultimately we have to go 1-0 on Saturday. And for us, it's just the next one. I think we strive to be the best team we can and put the best product in the field we can. And there will be mistakes along the way, and how we deal with them and how we respond to them is, what will make what team will ultimately be the outcome of that. And I think for us, we're going to show that we're a great football team who can respond to anything. We're going to make mistakes, but we're going to respond even harder. Yeah, I actually had no idea that they were posting that. I've been done a good job staying off social media. I think there's a lot of negative stuff out there on social media, and ultimately it's not healthy for an athlete. Throughout his or her time in college, I think there's too much negative stuff, and I think our team does a really good job of that, of staying positive and staying off of the external, but really focusing on what we have inside the building.
Is it strange or fun for you, let's just say, on a Saturday night or even Sunday when UFC plays, to watch games and go, that's on our schedule, that's one of our opponents, that's,
Mm-hmm.
more Big Ten football. Is that fun, or what's it like to experience that?
Yeah, I think you have to watch those games not as a spectator, and you have to kind of look at those games as, all right, this is an opponent we have in the future, but also try to balance the line of like, hey, we have to focus on this weekend first. But it's good to kind of get a feel of who your future opponents are just by kind of watching their game, watching the flow of the game, who their playmakers are, their defensive or offensive play call style, and kind of get a feel of that. So maybe when that week comes, you're a little bit more prepared. Like, hey, I saw this last or 2 weeks ago. Like, let's see how that fits out in this film here.
Time for one or two more. Talk about your first time playing at Huntington Stadium. Greg Johnson, kind of his first time playing in that
Mhm.
Huntington Stadium. Not really many mistakes in terms of the snap. Just how'd you see him perform?
Greg is he's a really fun center to play behind and play with. Number one, he's done an amazing job of communication. I think that whole line revolves around him, and I know it's a really old group, but to have a young guy up there at center and do what he does is really impressive. He keeps that whole line together. He's only this is his first time doing it really as the starting center, and I think it ultimately is a really good job for the other guys too. If being with him the whole time and supporting him when he needs it. But he doesn't need it. He's an outstanding player, outstanding communicator, an outstanding human being too.
More than
Like yourself on your leadership, what have you seen from other guys and how they've responded to Javon?
Yeah, I think our team has only become closer. I think that, I think as teams, go through adverse situations, and whether you call that a loss or a mistake or whatever, I think that's when really teams come together, and that's when you can tell what kind of team they're going to be. We've only gotten louder. I think this team's been really good with that. We came in, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, after the week was kind of done, and we attacked the film, and we knew we had to get better at, and we're attacking the week, and I'm really proud of these guys for that. And I can kind of see where this team's going and get the feel, the energy in the room, and it's been great. So I'm really excited to get back in the field, same with the other guys too.
All right. Thanks, Max.
Thank you guys.